very concise. Thank you very much. All right, next speaker is Dr. Zeev Maor. Zeev, where are you? Here you are. While you're walking up, let me quickly introduce you. You're the Chief Technology Officer for AHAVA Dead Sea Laboratories. Zeev received his PhD in biochemistry from Hebrew University in Jerusalem. And I saw you also got some EU grants to help you with your research. So we stick, of course, to the topic of skin. And you're going to talk about something I have no idea what that is. Apple of Sodom, Calatropis, procera, callus, a novel skincare active compound.
Good morning. I'm very happy to be here. First, I would like to thank Mira, the greatest, for inviting me, for organizing everything. I hope this presentation wouldn't take you to tough pictures like you've seen before, but will give you more information about taking the science that we're doing here in this place and make it even a commercial marketing activity with AHAVA. But it all starts with a survivor of this very, very special climate, the Dead Sea. Now it's March and we have lovely conditions outside. You are well invited to come back in July. It's quite tough. And okay. So it all started actually when a couple of years ago we have received a new manager of the company, a new CEO. He's first coming with a nice car to the factory in the Dead Sea. He parked, went outside the car, and he saw a beautiful plant, beautiful tree with this flower, that amazing flowers. And he asked me, Zeev, you are the R&D man, why we don't use this plant in our products? To tell you the truth, I have many reasons why not to use it. Number one, it's very poisoning. Every child that is growing in this area knows, don't touch this plant, don't put it in the eye, don't wash your hands after you are close to it. That's number one, everyone knows. But also, it's a protected plant, and all this area, it's a kind of natural preservation area. You don't want to pick plants from this flora that are so important. So this is the other reason why not to use. And the last, but not least, is that currently no one had listed this ingredient in the list of ingredients that are allowed to be used. So it's very easy to say, take it, but you cannot do it. You cannot have license from the ministries of health and from the FDA. Or anyone, unless you pass all this work of listing and toxicology. Unfortunately, I don't know why exactly. I still don't understand why. I told him, okay, let's do it. Actually what this guy has seen in his vision, he imagined how this beautiful picture would be with the products that from the very first moment he wanted it to be packed in red and with a picture with a tree and the sea. And after a vision, you cannot stop it in a way. The first step was to study what actually we know about this apple of Sodom. I have asked Professor Zohara Yaniv. She is the expert in plant in Israel. She wrote so many books about the different plants in the Israeli fauna and the desert fauna, flora, sorry, and asked her to tell me what do we know about it. So she created a nice review of what was known, and as you can see, it is not unique only to the Dead Sea. Even in Israel, you can find it in other areas. You can find it in all the Middle East, but also in India, in Africa, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Afghanistan, and you can even find it in America with some countries, but probably brought by men. However, when you try to understand how people are using this plant, you are shocked. And I wrote how beautiful and equally poisonous nature can be. If you take this beautiful tree with these flowers, and people are using it for killing, and you know that in Africa they still use it to coat the heads of the arrows when they want to kill people. In India, when they fight from time to time each other, they use it to poison the wells. And in some culture, they use it to commit suicide. So it's a very good start for a cosmetic product. And try to be above it. We went even deeper and found in the Ayurveda and other medicine literature using it for almost everything. Like, of course, skin problems, but joint pains, fever, asthma, snake bites, malaria, eczema, syphilis, leprosy, and even stopping the blood flow. So you have all the arena of different use, and then how you progress and try to take this beautiful plant and make it a real cosmetic actives. Above all, it's something that we believe. It's kind of philosophy of science. It's a Greek mean, the Hormesis. Many years known that some ingredients could be very poisonous, but if you take it in the right concentration, could be very positive for health. I think a cup of coffee or 3 cups of coffee a day, maybe a cup of good wine could be good examples of the Hormesis concept. So we believe that maybe if we take the Calatropis, procera, the apple of Sodom, maybe we can find something similar to this direction. But first, we have to find some sustainable supply chain. As I told you, you cannot go and just pick the plant. It's preserved in Israel. It's protected, and it's part of our flora here. No one wants to touch it. So it happened that we found a young team, a French biotechnology manufacturer, which was expert in this methodology of sustainable callus production. We have collected some parts from the plants in our place, send them leaves, roots, bark, fruits, and seeds. And it took some 2-3 months, and they established the protocol for the stem cells culture. And then we have the first extraction to start working. In parallel, we have started a long way and frustrating for listing a new actives with all the full toxicology profile, with all the tests that are needed to make it listed in the nomenclature of cosmetics. It's called INCI. And of course, supply, if you want it from a supplier, you have to build a scale up to have unlimited supply. So we passed all this very optimistically, and then we have the extract. And now you have the extract, and you have a dream, and you have some philosophy of science and how you move from here. And here comes Asada Skin Laboratory, which is an excellent collaboration of AHAVA and Tel Aviv University, but also this institution and this research organization. So they are here, our people that are working for more than 10 years. And together we start to use the skin models, human skin models, to make to understand what is the real bioactivity. And first, we decided to analyze the inflammation and the irritation. Why? Because I think that most of the human beings suffer in a way from inflammation and irritation. It's one of the reasons of premature aging. It's very, very important. And we have developed our models, LPS and SDS, and these were the first steps to do the test. So what is the test protocol? For skin inflammation, we take human skin donated from surgeries, growing on Petri dish. We topically apply the apple of Sodom extraction, and then we challenge it with the LPS, which is a polysaccharide from bacteria that normally create inflammatory reaction, and testing some biomarkers to see what is the results with and without the apple of Sodom. Well, we've done it. We knew nothing what is expected, and then the results were quite amazing for us. As you can see, normally when you treat the skin with LPS, immediately there is upregulation and expression of interleukin-1 beta. It's one of the cytokine, important. And this is very much reduced, or attenuated at least, when you topically apply the apple of Sodom extract. As you know, in biomarkers, you have to not to trust the first biomarkers you find, but you have to look for different biomarkers. I won't show you all of them, but we've done the same with TNF-alpha, tumor necrosis factor, very important biomarkers. And you can see that when cells were challenged, there is upregulation of this cytokine, which was significantly reduced when the skin was treated with apple of Sodom extract. But this is not enough. We went to irritation. Irritation is also important. So our skin model used now in a different way. We topically challenge the skin with a strong detergent, the SDS, and usually this creates irritation for skin. It's known from literature, and we treat it with the apple of Sodom and see what happens for the specific biomarkers. Again, what we found was, I think, astonishing. If you take a normal and you see first the cell viability, you see the cell viability is reduced dramatically when you expose the skin to this strong SDS, strong detergent. However, when you apply the apple of Sodom to the skin, it's not significant. I mean, all the effect is reduced, and the cell viability is much better. Looking for biomarkers, now we go to interleukin-1 alpha, which is known as a irritation golden biomarker. And you see, again, when you expose skin to the detergent, upregulation of this interleukin. And when you apply the apple of Sodom, you can reduce this bad effect dramatically. And again, with TNF-alpha, exposure upregulate this cytokine, but if you apply the apple of Sodom, you dramatically, significantly reduce this biomarker expression. The same with prostaglandin. And after this, we were quite convinced, but we didn't know how it works. And I think that we asked ourselves, okay, you find a new active, how it reacts with the Dead Sea minerals. Maybe there is some effect that could go synergistic effect or something new when you combine both actives. So what we've done is what is known as a epigenetic test, microarray, Affymetrix. If you are in bioscience, you're all aware of it. So we exposed the skin, topical application with osmoter, with osmoter Dead Sea, with the apple of Sodom, and a combination of both, and try to see which genes are upregulated, which genes are downregulated. And then we took the results, and through bioinformatic work, we try to understand what pathways, what metabolic pathways are involved in this activity. And what we have found, to make it short, that three main metabolic pathways are involved and are energized via the exposure of the combination of the Dead Sea water and the apple of Sodom. It's a glycolysis, it's a breakdown of the glucose to the ATP production, and of course a response to hypoxia, which helps skin or cells to cope with a lack of oxygen, and EMT, which is enhancing the skin cells to differentiate and assigning regeneration and healing. So these are important pathways, but we were not impressed too much from microarray results. As you know, in microarray you can see almost everything, and you have to prove it also in the protein level. So we've done some protein work and found significant effect in all three pathways, glycolysis, hypoxia, and EMT via their main proteins. So these results were quite nice. And just to conclude, we see the topical application of apple of Sodom with the Dead Sea minerals really activate different biological pathways, and this was approved not only on the epigenetic, not only on the gene level, but also via the protein and enzymatic level. This pathway could be good, beneficial for skin health in different mode of action, like protection against inflammation, irritation, energy enhancement, stress protection, and skin regeneration. Well, nice results, but we have to squeeze this data and make it a moneymaker. And so we have started to work on it. First step, as you know, is a patent pending. It's still pending, it's progressing. Secondly, we published it in a nice publication, proving scientifically, passing all the referees and share this data with the world. And then go to the marketing people. They are sometimes different, sometimes they're tough, and prove that first it's pioneering. We are the first one to use this apple of Sodom, this survivor. It's authentic because it's part of our place. We see it every day. And it's innovative because we have proven that and patented this effect of minerals with this plant. And they have done what they know how to do, taking the right pictures and building the product. Of course, we have a lot of formulation work, a lot of clinical trials to prove that it is really effect against wrinkles, etc. And if you want to know what they also have done, it's a 1 minute, but I don't know how to do it. Okay, sorry, where I am. It's not a touch screen. No. You know how to put it? No. Okay. Sorry. Oh, it works.
It's not simple to find the answer. It requires going to the edge of the world. Opening your eyes. Seek, research, examine. It requires us to be bold. Who would have thought that something essentially toxic can be full of vitality? When beauty and science merge, that is magic. AHAVA presents a new natural and revolutionary from apple of Sodom complex, extracted from a flowering plant that grows in the Dead Sea Desert. Apple of Sodom, an anti-wrinkle effect without needles.
Thank you very much. So I hope also the scientific results were impressive. This is marketing, that's art of marketing, and thank you. Any question? Or?
Yeah, thank you, Zeev. Of course, the applause was for the scientific work and not for the commercial. And I hope you brought some samples.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Everyone that wants, we have some samples outside. Outside, I brought.
Okay,
Thanks.
but first some questions, then the samples. Any questions? Yes.
Thank you for the very thoughtful discussion and leading us through the whole research process. So the original, in the beginning of the examination, the skin samples that were used, that were donated, which, how old were those skin samples? I mean, for what was the age? Was it someone in their, number of them, 20s, 40s, 60s? Since we're talking about anti-wrinkle therapies. Just curious, thank you.
Well, it depends. Maybe the one that have done the test, clinical, you want to share with us? Eliran? Dr. Eliran Shalom?
Age average of donate. The average age of our donor are from 25 to 60 years old. So this is, yeah.
Curious about the responses.
Yes, there is a big diversity in the responses of each donor, of course. We overcome this obstacle by doing a lot of repetition and a lot of experiments. The result that they've shown are the average of a lot of experiments, not only one, of course. So, yeah.
Yeah, I also want to say that beyond this, we've done clinical studies with a lot of people that was volunteered to be tested. And it's not part of this presentation, but each claim was analyzed on human being, on more than 100 human, and it was women. I think it was 45 to 65 age, and we've done many tests to make sure that the effect of anti-wrinkle is measurable. It's in independent clinics. Also, the safety was proven on sensitive skin and on allergics with what we call a rule of one. Even if one of 100% react, that the product is not good enough. But this was tested on the product. Currently, we have 4 products and 3 more in the bench for the next launch. But and the product itself is going to be launched, I don't know, in few weeks in Israel. So it's really hot. And the only problem that we have that the biotechnology system is not working fast enough, and we are waiting for more and more supply of the extract to produce more.
Okay. One more quick question.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, first of all, I want a sample, very quick. Second, I remember, I know, and I want you to say a word about the mud and the, antibacterial, but more with that, what we were working on, opening the pores and maybe in the future penetrating drugs through the skin rather than through the stomach. If you can say just very
That's
short.
what I like in Mira. She had her own priority or timetable. The mud is a different story. Maybe if you invite me next year, I will tell you more about the mud. We are doing a lot of research about this amazing ingredient. This time was focused on this because we looked for survivor in this area, and the mud is survivor, but it's very simple to survive when you are a mud. and we are deep in the mud. To grow and flourish in this area, it was challenging even more. But you recognize all the publication about it. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Zeev.